So I'm currently in the process of trying to drag my good buddy Mike, kicking and screaming, back into playing Flesh and Blood. As many of you may recall, a short while ago on this channel, we took his Bravo deck back from the old WTR days, and we updated it to be current, added some Terra Sunders, and tricked it out. Now, him and I met a couple weeks ago to just play some casual Blitz games at a bar. We had a great time, and he was actually indicating that he was ready to start trying and playing some other heroes, which was fantastic news. So, of course, I asked, who are you interested in? Now, his first answer was Dash, and ironically, that was the day that the Arcane Rising announcement had been made. So I kind of coached him that maybe that wasn't the best idea right now, given that we don't know what's going to be happening with Dash. And then I gave him some of my decks to play with, and one hero who he really was attracted to was Prism. So tonight, what I'm doing is I'm running down kind of a proposed deck for Mike. And when I was in the process of doing that, it was actually a little more expensive than I thought it was going to be. So we're running down the target build, and then we're looking at a budget build for that same deck. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hello Flesh and Blood folks, and welcome back to Dice Commando, and go again, a fabulous cast. Thank you very, very much for tuning in with me tonight. Basically running down a deck for my buddy, but you know what? If I'm going to go do the work, we're going to make a video out of it, and people will watch if people will watch, and fair enough, right? So the way we're going to approach this tonight, as I said in the intro, when I actually sat down and I was like, okay, let's build him, a relatively simple, straightforward deck. I mean, in the back of your head, the equipment's expensive, but, this Monarch's been out for a while. I didn't really realize how expensive Cataclysm and Soul Shield still were. I mean, they're not in the grand scheme of gaming, but, start adding it up and look at it going from scratch on a deck, and it starts to add up. So what I want to do is I want to run down the target build first and kind of talk about the key cards and what he will absolutely need. And then we'll finish up kind of looking at the budget build, basically just looking at what he can swap in and out as he may choose, right? So what I have up right now is the target build. Now, because we're swinging for the fences on this, I went ahead and put in the big equipment. I mean, there's no secret there that they're expensive. So we do have the Halo, we have the Weavers, we have Vestige, and we have Phantasmal Footsteps. Now, Mike is aware enough of, kind of the scheme of Flesh and Blood that he knows that he's also going to be packing some Null Rune and stuff like that. So that's why that's not on there. It's not, not the full list. You guys get that. What I also did for the pricing on this, as you guys will notice, is I didn't price out the commons and the rares. That's because we have enough players in the area that most commons are free and most rares are like a quarter at this point, right? So, and Mike being Mike and knowing me and knowing other people, he'll be able to get the rares he needs as well. So yes, I somewhat cheated and only priced out, the M's and above, but by and large, I think that, what's that going to do? Maybe swing this by $10. So no big deal there. All right. So just running down the list. So for red, we have Protection, we have Triumph. These are all heralds, of course. We have Protection, Triumph. We do have 3 Phantasmaclasms. We have, 2 Phantasmaclasms at 3 costs. Sorry about that. I have 1 Phantasmify, 2 Prismatic Shields, and 2 War Tunes. You'll notice that Phantasmify is a 1 of, and as is Arclight Sentinel below. Other than that, all of them are 2 of, so I'm not even going to say 2 of anymore. For yellows, we have Protection, Triumph, Erudition, such a key card. We have Judgment, we have Cataclysm, 2 Soul Shields, 2 Merciful Retributions, 2 Yellow Pummels. I do like playing that in here. Plus, he's got the Bravo experience. We have 2 War Tunes, and then we do have that 1 Arclight. And then as for the blues, we have Protection, Triumph, and Rebirth, Unmovable, and War Tune Herald, right? So I know Unmovable is not super common in the Blitz build, but I think it needs to be going forward, right? Prism's having kind of a hard time with she's having kind of a hard time in general right now. So I think adding the Unmovable, plus it's something he already has from his Bravo build. It also gives him more blue pitches because he is going to run the Phantasmaclasms, right? That card's actually so cheap that there's really no reason not to pick up 2 of them because it is really, really good. Plus, you'll notice that it doesn't have tome and a lot of that other stuff in here, not really going for the combo wombo, really going for consistency here, right? Again, this is, Mike picking this up as a new player, or a new to Prism player was what I mean. So I really want the lines to be pretty straightforward of, you Herald, you can get some auras out there and do some things with your Luminaris. And I think you guys get it. So just talking about, the key cards from this, I mean, Luminaris is your most key card. I mean, there's no secret there. There's no way around Luminaris. You're going to have to pick it up. $7 is really not too bad for your weapon. I mean, the Luminaris giving everything go again while there's yellow in your pitch zone. I mean, effectively everything go again, right? Effectively for you is, I mean, you need Luminaris. You do. Phantasmaclasm, again, is not something that's absolutely necessary. So you could skip out on this one, but I think in this build, and also given how cheap it is, picking up the 2 Phantasmaclasms is probably the way to go. Notice we're not playing any Blinding Lights in here, right? So we're not full on in the Herald strategy. We are doing a little bit of the aura stuff as well. So I think that running Phantasmaclasm is probably the right play here. It is a 3-pitch, and that's why there's even a debate about it, right? It being a 3-pitch can be rough because you have to get a blue, and a lot of times, I mean, look at how many yellows you have in here, right? That's what you're going to be pitching a lot of times. So yes, but play it. Herald of Protection, I know that this is just a rare, and again, not going to have any problem finding, but Herald of Protection is such your bread and butter in this, right? Pooping out a token, using that token to stab. Absolutely, absolutely fantastic. It's by far, in my opinion, the best Herald, except for Erudition, right? Herald Erudition, throwing that up right now. Mike, you'll notice it's not. So you'll notice on here when we go to the next screen, everything that's highlighted is arguably you could maybe try out or try without on the first time through. But Herald of Erudition's not, because you really need it, right? So it is a $7 card. It's a $7 card for a reason, because when that baby hits and you draw and you keep going because there's a yellow pitch in your zone, Erudition is dirty. It's dirty, nasty, awesome sauce, right? So you definitely want Erudition because it just makes stuff happen, right? Because if they can't blow up Erudition and it does hit, they're not going to be able to blow up the next one, right? Or probably the one after that. So yeah, definitely get that. Now, next we have Cataclysm and Soul Shield. So Cataclysm's fantastic. It blocks for 3, right? It's 0, go again. And yeah, I mean, 3 cards in your soul, but if your stuff's hitting, it goes in your soul, doing what you want it to do. I mean, playing 2 of those, plus it's yellow, right? It's yellow, so if you draw it early, what are you doing? You're using it to pay for all your 2s, right? So you look at the cost, right? It's like 2. The only 3 cost the only 2 3 costs we have in here, Phantasmaclasm and Unmovable. Unmovable you're going to be using to pitch unless you're in trouble, so you don't have to necessarily worry about that because you're going to have a lot of cards in your hand on Unmovable. So again, Cataclysm being yellow is huge. Next we have Soul Shield. This one I think pretty much speaks for itself. Not only does it do the defense react thing, put up a bunch of defense, but it goes into your soul. Right now, it's not super ideal because you have to pay for it, right? I mean, and by that I mean it's not like a 0 for 4 or something, but it goes in your soul, and you pay 2 for it, and then you still, I mean, because you're Prism, as long as you have another yellow pitch in your hand, you can pay for any other Herald, right? So that's not a bad 4-card cycle, right? Now, Merciful Retribution, this is the one that I like to play with. It's just good. It does stuff. Most of the time they feel they have to target it. Now, Pummel, you could, go either way on this one. I really like playing yellow Pummel. Again, I like the yellow because it's yellow pitch. I mean, it's a 2-pitch, does its thing. And it can, you have a lot of experience with Bravo. Put it in your arsenal. Do fun stuff with that. Again, if they're not going to blow up your, right, and you would have already known if they blow it up before you have to play it, right? That's the beautiful part, right? So if they throw it out there, they don't blow it up, you can come over the top on the attack react, and it hits, goes in your soul. They have to discard. Yeah. And then Arclight Sentinel is cheap, right? And I think it's because a lot of people don't play as many of it, meaning you only need like 1 copy, or I think 2 copies generally in CC is what people play, and then you sideboard them out, right? So no big deal there. $1, no reason not to. And then all the blues you should either have or should be able to pick up pretty cheap. All right, so I mean that's pretty much as far as the general strategy, we kind of already talked it through, right? You're going to be putting on pressure with Heralds, and then you're going to kind of trying set up your, I mean, you need to get stuff in your soul so you can start doing your stabby stabs, right? We also, of course, have Prismatic Shield for getting stuff out as well. I think before I didn't mention that Prismatic Shield's also a 3, but you're going to be playing that different, right? Because that's an instant, right? So, but you can pitch 2 yellows to it and stab, right? So you can do that. All right, so moving on then to the budget replacement. So what I have up now across the screen, obviously, is the budget replacements. Phantasmal Footsteps is fantastic, but no, I don't expect you to pick it up right out of the gate. Quite frankly, you don't need to pick it up right out of the gate. I mean, it's really, 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 really good. It's really, really, really fundamental, but you can live without it. You can at least get the general feel, get more reps on it. You know, it's a lot different going in at $30 for a deck than it is at $300 for a deck, right? To get the feel on it if you like it and if it's worth it. So no, you do not have to pick up the Footsteps to get a good idea fundamentally if you're going to like this or not. And then Vestige of Soul also is really good for kind of those longer combo turns, but that almost more fits with like your Tome and some of the other stuff that you're going to be doing that actually isn't in this deck. So it's not as necessary, right? I mean, first off, you're going to prioritize Footsteps over Soul. No question about it, in my opinion. And then you have Cross Strap, which, you know, you're well familiar with for making big stuff. So you have Cross Straps and Ironhide legs. Those aren't even, I don't even know what they cost. It's like 10 cents, right? So no problem there. So I recommend swapping in 2 Sync Belows for the Soul Shield, right? Just straight up defense reactions. The reason you want to go Sync over Fate is it does let you get a little bit of cycling if you don't get your yellow, right? And then as for the Celestial Cataclysm change or swap, we'll go Herald of Ravages, right? So just one more Herald on top and go the yellow pitch, of course, so we don't change any of our ratios. And all of those are, I mean, Sync's actually, you know, it's kind of getting hard to find stuff like that, but not out of print. So Sync Below at least is still around. I'm sure somebody will be able to hook you up with some Syncs if you don't already have them, which you probably do. Right, and then Herald of Ravages, like I said, is, I think Herald of Ravages is a common. Maybe. Either way. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Not a super long video, but this is what I'm proposing. Like I said, I know you had a lot of fun playing her that one time, but you're going to have to get some reps playing her against, playing Prism against somebody who can blow your stuff up. And that's that is where the Footsteps come in, right? They do matter. But yeah, either way, looking at putting all of this together for $30 or so, I think is pretty reasonable, and I think you can get a pretty good feel for if you're gonna like the hero or not. So yeah, I think for $30 is pretty reasonable from an entry point. Pick most of it up, no problem, if you don't already have most of the stuff. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So for those of you who are watching who aren't Mike, let me know what else you guys are thinking. What other suggestions do you have for him? Do you have any other pretty cheap, relatively good includes? Right, maybe Ravages isn't the right swap. What else should we go? I did not necessarily want to go with one of the other auras, but we could. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts and any advice that you have for him. And pretty much that's it, folks. So. Before we get out of here, I just want to remind everybody it is shopping season. So Gongai Games, 10% off all of your purchases. That's not even Cyber Friday, Monday deal, Black Monday, whatever. It's not all that involved. If you check out go to them, 10% off, code Commander10 for 10% off. And if you do head over to Fab Foundry, if you use my reference link below, I get a kickback from that, which helps keep my cardboard crack addiction going. So thank you very much for considering that. And thank you also for tuning in this evening, and go Commando.